your political theater to Texas.
This is not about political theater.
And it was more political theater than anything.
It's nothing more than pure political theater.
It's pure political theater.
Hello, folks. Listen, I barely made it. There's so much going on. How y'all doing? What snacks do we have? Y'all, today I'm eating Planters peanuts. These are the sweet and spicy ones. So if you hear me crunching, that's what it is. How's everybody doing? Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Be sure to hit that like button on your way in. Be sure to let people know that we are live. I am getting my life together. As we know, Fridays, I am usually by myself, but you all are here with me, and that makes it all better. Notice I am wearing my merch, okay? I have a sweatshirt. It says, I must become a menace to my enemies. That is a quotation by the one and only June Jordan. You can go to FemJones.com/merch and get your own version of this sweatshirt. I also have all kinds of merch with this on it. You can also scan that little QR code in the corner there, and it'll take you there. And I've got tons of merch. I'm going to be dropping some Black History Month merch soon too. So you'll have it in time, like the way that they're shipping and stuff with the snow and everything. You should be able to have it at least by the first or second week of Black History Month. So be sure to book and mark that. Guys, I'm so happy to be here. Well, I'm keep wiping my nose because you guys know I'm the most boogery person on the planet. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, chat, I've been drinking. And yet I have another drink ready to go for us today. We got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot to talk about. You know what? Thank you. How was the cruise? Cruise was amazing. I love cruises. A lot of people, they don't like cruises, but a lot of people who don't like cruises have never been on a cruise. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. I actually love cruises. I'm the kind of person, like I've been all over the world. And the thing for me is I like diversity. And a 7-day cruise can take you to like 3 or 4 places. And I really love that. You get to spend the whole day there. I recommend, setting up some kind of excursion that gives you some history, maybe a walking tour, a cooking class, whatever situation is, or you can just hang out, go somewhere, hang out on the beach. This is going to piss me off until I stop seeing dry shit on my, But I'm back. You may not be able to tell by the lighting, but I did get some color. I don't feel as pale as I once did. This is Political Theater with Dr. T. I am Dr. T. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. First thing I actually want to talk about with you all is a little bit of a personal situation going on here. And let me share my screen. Shout out to Warner Brothers and the team over there, the legal team over there. Some of you don't know, last year, or you may know, you may not know. Last year, Chris Brown filed a $500 million defamation lawsuit against Warner Brothers Discovery over sexual assault claims made in the documentary. And the byline here says the singer takes issue with an accuser stating that the documentary that he raped her, as well as a portrayal that he has a disposition for punching women in the face. And I just want to play this little bit. As much as I absolutely hate the Breakfast Club, I just wanted to share this little video here with you all. Let's see if we can get something here.
Right, Chris Brown. And the lawsuit was a defamation lawsuit for $500 million that claimed that a documentary that ID did, Investigation Discovery, did was defaming his character. Chris Brown is basically alleged then that the doc was full of lies and deception. Now a judge as of yesterday, has dismissed this lawsuit against Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Ample Entertainment, who is the production company. And what the judge is saying is that the documentary did its fair job in compiling, using journalistic standards to compile information to fairly present both sides. One of the things that Chris Brown's team had an issue with was the fact that they featured a story about this lady who alleged that Chris Brown had raped her on a yacht owned by Diddy back in 2020. And Chris Brown's team at the time was saying, well, she didn't provide certain text messages when she went to Miami police. But the judge is saying that the documentary presented both sides in that balanced manner. The court has personally viewed the entire documentary. The documentary recites most of the inconsistencies plaintiff notes, including the existence of text messages. So basically, the fact that they address things that Chris Brown's team is saying is inconsistent and they don't try to hide it and they show things what they should. This documentary, I mean, the judge is saying, they don't see defamation. Defamation is very hard to prove, by the way. But the judge is not agreeing with Chris Brown in this one.
I never even saw that doc. That doc did absolutely nothing.
No,
Okay,
to
hurt Sea Breezy because Chris Brown was out here flying through the air.
Hello?
Okay, doing backflips, all types of stuff.
Hello, dropping music nonstop.
Folks was focused on he focused on.
So anyway, I hate Charlemagne's voice, so I'm gonna turn that off. So, I was in a documentary. I was in a documentary, and I've been in a few documentaries actually, but in this documentary, I was asked to come in to kind of weigh in as as an activist, as an advocate for women and girls. Somebody who has kind of a an educated perspective on things. And I was in the documentary, and I think that I did a pretty great job. However, I was also named in that lawsuit. Yes, it was. It was very informative. And one of the things that I love about kind of being who I am is that I get to do this kind of commentary, whether it's cultural, political commentary, whatever my expertise, I get to weigh in, right? That's one of the benefits of being Dr. Taylor, is that people see you as an expert and they want to have you come in and give your expertise. I just want to make clear, we were not paid for this documentary. Nobody received any money for this. This was, just our participating in this and being a part of it. And so, it's been stressful. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. Like, when I first heard that this bum was, you're gonna sue me for calling him a bum. When I first heard that this bum was suing the documentary, I was like, oh, wow. And then I got served to my house. And I just want everybody to understand something. These people will find you. It don't matter nothing. You could act like you're hiding on social media. You can act like you are, incognito or whatever. I stopped doing that a long time ago. When I came up with Feminista Jones long time ago, it really was because I had a minor child and I was very focused on like hiding my true identity, I guess, or at least trying to separate the two, because when you are a woman, when you are a Black woman, and when you identify as feminist, especially online, you activate some really, really, really awful things in a lot of people. And so I knew kind of going into this space, mind you, I've been a blogger since like 2004, and I'd made connections and things like that. But I knew that kind of entering into this space that it could lead to stuff because people are absolutely unhinged, right? And I know that men are weird. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry, y'all. Sending a text message. But I know that people get weird, especially men. Men are violent, right? Like inherently. I don't care what anybody says. I think that the men who are not violent actually have to do work to not be violent, right? I think the men that I feel safest around are the ones who have divested of patriarchy and, toxic masculinity, and actually know how to see women as human beings. And that's not most men. Hate to tell y'all that, but it's really not. And so I knew kind of coming into this space that I would be targeted because I was going to say things that were going to upset people. just by affirming that women have the right to be free and equal members of society. I got to put the alleged, yes, you're right. Thank you. I appreciate the folks in the chat who always look out for me because goddamn, I don't need another lawsuit. But anyway, a few years ago, I was like, I'm transitioning out of this. As much as I love being Feminista Jones, or I have loved being Feminista Jones, I just really am pivoting, and like my goal is to not have to be actively on social media. And so, kind of transitioning my work and sharing myself as Dr. T, as Dr. Taylor, has been important. So, when I did this or whatever, my information was obviously out there. They will find you. They'll find you where you live, where you work, everything. And so somebody came to my door and sure enough served me with these papers, and I'm reading this and I'm like, yo, this nigga is suing me. I didn't do nothing. And I know this because when I was filming it, I was very particular about my words. Now, you all know I'm a professional public speaker. I'm very meticulous about how I curate my social media and everything. Everything that I post has thought in it. I'm not always right, but that 1% of the time that I'm wrong, it's still authentic, right? So I curate everything meticulously. So I knew going into this documentary that I didn't say anything, right, that was worth a lawsuit or was defamation. And for those who don't know, when you are a public figure, proving defamation is very hard. I got hit with another defamation suit from a person that I don't even need to name. And it was nothing because you can't prove that someone sharing their opinions about you is defamation unless they are declaring that the statements they are making are factual and they are harming your career. You have to prove that a person's statement is harming your career. And kind of what Charlemagne was saying in his wayward ways is that this documentary did not hurt him at all. It's, in fact, for the last year, that damn tour he was on was selling out in places. And as he said, he's backflipping across the stages. So it didn't hurt him. So him being on tour actually hurt his defamation lawsuit, because you've got to prove that the statements that you're saying were harmful had a detrimental effect on your career. If anything, it went to the other side. So he's been doing just fine. So that was part of it. And the other thing is he claimed that I said things I did not say. All right. So you can't, he was mixing us up. The people that were in the documentary, he was attributing statements to the wrong people, right? And so I just wanted to share that I got this notification from the lawyers today. Well, yes, okay, it came out yesterday. We just finished with this morning's hearing. Plaintiff's counsel submitted on the tentative ruling, as did we, and the judge is going to adopt the tentative ruling and grant your motion to strike all of plaintiff's claims against you with prejudice. This is a great result. Congratulations. We'll keep you posted on the next step. So I haven't talked that much about this just because it is a legal case and I didn't want to get into, any kind of trouble or whatever. But some of you know that I've been dealing with this literally for the last year. And so I'm just happy to share that it's over. I don't have to pay anything. I'm not being held into any kind of issues or anything like that. And I can put this behind me now. It was stressing me out. It was, again, I didn't think $500 million, nobody's going to grant him $500 million. That was an egregious ask or whatever. But career-wise, especially with my name being out there, because several articles did list my name and the lawsuit is out there and my name is there, as somebody who is trying to build her career as an academic, as a professor, as an expert cultural commentary, that can be really harmful. So I'm glad that everything has been dismissed. And here we are. All right. So let's get into the ridiculous news that is happening. The theater, the political theater that we have to deal with the United States and their politicians, because they're all a bunch of fucking clowns. I'm never getting monetized. I don't even know why I bother trying not to curse, because I'm not going to get monetized. But let's get into it. So last time we were talking about the pregnancy announcements, and I just want y'all to hear this shit from JD Vance, right? Okay, here we go. First of all, yeah, I want y'all to notice this man is behind. He's about what, 6 feet, 6'1" or something like that. He's in that 6 feet range. So we're going to assume that this is at least maybe a 7 foot tall glass wall. They're putting him behind. They're not playing. I am suspecting that they have gotten some credible death threats against Vance and some of the others because they got this month behind a Pope wall, okay?
Now, some of you may remember that in my remarks last year, I told you all that one of the things I most wanted in the United States of America was more families and more babies.
I told y'all.
So let the record show, you have a vice president who practices what he preaches.
Now, remember when Dr. Hall and I were talking about this, I said that they are trying to lead by example and they're trying to get people to have more of these so-called Trump babies, as Mehmet Oz calls them, Trump babies, okay?
Usha and I announced this week.
And I'm just going to pause this. I just want you all to notice that JD Vance has significantly, I can't really like blow it up, but he has significantly more wrinkles and gray hair than just a year ago. And it's not because he just got another year older. No, this shit is stressing him out. His wife definitely stressed out, but like many of the people that end up in these, positions, look at his crow's feet. This man did not have these crow's feet 6 months ago. Look at the gray hairs. This is stressing him out. And he's wearing a ton of makeup right now.
Week that we're expecting our fourth.
If you want to know about the makeup, always look along the hairline.
And it will be our third baby boy. So we'll take whatever prayers you can.
He actually has contour. Okay. I don't know if you all can see that very well. His nose is contoured. We know he has permanent eyeliner, but his nose is also contoured. So he has the bad bitch treatment.
We certainly need him. I know a lot of us heard from the president just before this, so you know that he loves and cares deeply about this movement. And it's why he has fought for the pro-life cause and why we do it in this administration. And today, our administration is proud to announce a historic expansion of the Mexico City policy. We're going to start blocking every international GO that performs or promotes abortion abroad from receiving $1 of U.S. money.
I want y'all to hear that. Did y'all just hear what he said? Basically, if other countries are offering people in the United States the opportunity to have abortions, that they're going to strip any funding from the U.S. So again, and I'm not going to play his voice anymore because he's absolutely annoying. But this is really important, y'all. Like, I need y'all to, let me get the, do I have the wrong? Okay. I need y'all to understand this for what this is. So we have been talking about the United States and how it is creating kind of this fascist state that is really focused on being a whites only nation, right? But it can't just be about getting rid of immigrants, right? They're doing that. Obama was doing it. It's whatever. That's the United States or what have you. It's not working the way that they want. They're not meeting Obama's numbers. They're not meeting Biden's numbers, right? Even with all of this tactical shit that we're seeing, all of these videos that we're seeing, we'll talk about ICE a little bit more in a few minutes, but all of the stuff that we're seeing, it's still not enough. And so they are hiring these people and they are giving them quotas that they have to meet. And they're paying them bonuses based on these quotas that they meet, which is why you see them acting like traffic cops. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this tactic, but at the end of the month, that's when you got to start paying attention to how you're driving, because the traffic cops and police officers, whatever, they have quotas to meet and they have to try to get those in. So they'll pull you over for the dumbest shit. They'll give you tickets. It doesn't even matter. You'll be parked at a spot that has 30 minutes left. They'll still give you a ticket because it doesn't actually matter if it pans out. It's just the fact that they wrote the ticket. And that is exactly how ICE, these ICE agents are operating. they got to get 50 bodies a month or whatever. You know, I don't know the number, but like say it's that. They got to get 50 bodies a month. And what we do know is happening, this has been proven several times, is that they are picking people up and dropping them off down the street or an hour later. They're not even taking them to processing centers. Now, some people they are, absolutely. But a lot of people are not even being taken to processing centers. They're being put in the back of these trucks, driven around, and then released. They just did that to that elderly man that we all saw. Maybe you didn't see it, but the video of that elderly man being pulled out of his home in freezing temperatures, just in his underwear and a robe, they dropped him off an hour later. So they're doing this to collect bodies because they got to fill a quota. And they have to fill a quota, and that's how they get their money. If they want bonuses or anything like that, right? That's where we are. And so what the Trump administration is basically doing, so that's fine. The immigration is, and you're still not getting the numbers, right? This is vexing Trump because Trump compares himself to Obama. He's a cuck. We have talked about this before. Donald Trump is a cuck. And if you don't know what a cuck is, now I'm going to be on a lot of tangents because one, I have attention deficit disorder. And we speak in tangents. I'm also on drink like number 5. And I took a mushroom like 20 minutes ago. So you just gotta have to rock with me tonight. Okay. What was I talking about? What the fuck was I talking about before I started explaining that I was going on a goddamn tangent? Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, I got it. So remember, I've said this before. If you follow me on social media, I said if you want to understand men, you have to study porn. And I do that, right? I have the stuff that I watch for my personal pleasure because I'm nasty. But then a lot of it, most of like, if you were to look at my search history, you would think that I was like a predator, but it's not that. I have done research around this. I've done writing about this. But if you want to understand men, just watch what types of adult videos are popular, right? And so I've been telling people, screaming from the rafters, that Border Patrol porn is a thing. It is a major thing. There are so many videos about Border Patrol agents capturing women at the border, usually a Latina or a white woman pretending to be a Latina, and them having sex with them in order to let them go. This is not new, right? This is not new. But anyway, back to cucks. So in the porn space, a cuck is usually a white man who likes to watch as his white wife is being railed by a black man, often referred to as a mandingo or a BBC. Okay, not the News Central, but BBC stands for Big Black. Okay, because only white people call penises cock. Nobody, we don't do that shit. We just don't. But anyway, unless you've been fucking white dudes for a long time, then maybe you have. But he's a cuck. And so if you look at how Donald Trump defers to racialized men like Obama, like Zoran Mamdani, right? He admires them. He deeply admires them and wishes that he could garner the favor that they have. Okay, these are men who are very popular among their constituents. People fawn over them. People turn them into political celebrities, all those kinds of things. Trump wishes that he had that. He's got MAGA, but he also hates MAGA because he looks down on MAGA. White people of his kind of, space, they hate poor white trash. In fact, white people are the only group that actually has a group of their own that they call trash like that, right? Poor white trash. Ain't no poor black trash. Ain't no poor Mexican trash. It's poor white trash. And that comes from this idea that if you are poor and you are white, then that's your fault because there's no reason for you to be white and poor, right? So he looks down at MAGA. He thinks that they're stupid. He thinks that they're losers. He hates them. He actually resents them. He doesn't want those accolades. He wants accolades from the best of the best. Trump wants to be honored by the greatest people, right? That's why he cozies up to Putin and Xi Jinping and all that. These are men that he admires, and he wants to be like them, okay? So this whole border thing, this whole ICE thing, the borders are not working anymore. There's nothing happening down there. So he's coming inland now, and he's using his vengeance to target his political opponents. And so United States citizens and naturally born here, whatever the situation, are now being targeted because this whole illegals problem is not what he says it is. Every time they talk about illegal immigrants, which I'm only phrasing it that way because y'all know me. I don't give a fuck. Everybody can come here. We got plenty of room, plenty of resources. Everybody can come here. But I'm using their language. He's focused on illegal immigrants. He keeps talking about first it's 10 million, then it's 20 million, then it's 30 million. They keep making up numbers to try to say how many people are here illegally. If there's 30 million people, that's almost 10% of the population. It's complete bullshit, y'all. And he knows it. So they're not going to get the Obama numbers because Obama and Biden Harris took care of a lot of those, right? So they're targeting folks who have the right to be here, who are legally making their way through the system, which can take 20 years, okay? Because that's the brokenness of the system. They're targeting U.S. citizens who are racialized. It doesn't matter. It's all performance. And if you notice when they talk about it, they go back to like when you hear like KK Carolyn talking, it's always about the American people voted for this. This is what they wanted. They keep, they always find a way to distance him from it. I don't know if y'all noticed that. It's always, well, other presidents have done this, or this is what the American people voted for. So he's just doing what they asked him to do. That's political theater, right? That's manipulation. That's gaslighting. That's all these things that we often talk about, right? And so, excuse me. So with this whole thing, the immigration is not really working. The immigration part is not really working. They keep saying they're going after the worst of the worst. We know that they are not, right? They need more fucking babies. And they need you to stay here and have them. And so by them like banning countries from being able to come, 75 countries, they can't give visas to visit here, mostly racialized nations. They don't want people coming here and breeding more. You can't, you left your husband there. No, you can't bring him over. You can't, oh, your children over there. No, you can't bring them over. And if you go back, we're not letting you back in. This is all like, a systematic process. But they also need to keep us here. Not us, white people. They need to keep you here. And so you can expect that there are going to be more limitations in travel. And this thing with the abortion and withdrawing funding from other countries that are willing to provide abortions to American citizens, US citizens, that's only the first step, okay? And they're going to start threatening countries with high tariffs, withdrawal of funds. They've already pulled funds. People are dying. Like people are absolutely dying because they pulled all those USAID funds, right? We see what it does. They don't care. They just need more white babies here. And so again, we see they want people from South Africa. They're selling green cards for $5 million. They're opening up and welcoming people from European nations to come. This is what they do, right? So let's talk about what's going on with ICE. We all know, we've all been paying attention after Renee Good was killed. I think we all agree, yes, chat, that he's targeting Minnesota because of Tim Walz, because Tim Walz ran against him, right? He was targeting California because Kamala Harris is from California and ran against him, and they almost won. So he targeted California with those initial ICE raids. He went for the presidential nominee. Now he's going after the vice presidential nominee, right? We all understand this for what this is, right? And we've seen how spineless Tim Walz has been. It's quoting 1984, but he's not doing shit, right? All right. So there's been a new wave of protests, right? And I think one of the cool things that I saw is that I was listening to a podcast today, and they're talking about how the businesses in Minnesota are having a strike, right? And it says, this is from CNN, hundreds of Minnesota businesses were encouraged to close for the day, and rally is underway in Minneapolis as organizers urge people to protest the Trump administration's latest surge in its aggressive nationwide immigration crackdown. I was looking online. I saw the pictures and stuff like that. I'm not going to show them because I'm really tired of people going out to protest and not covering their faces. I am not going to add to your facial recognition and scanning, but people were protesting and they were out in the streets. It is freezing out in Minnesota and people were out there. So shout out to them. They were in the streets. They were blocking streets, blocking traffic, which is what you're supposed to do when you are doing these disruptive, protests and things like that. So shout out to them for showing up in the cold. My good sis, Leslie Mack, is going to be organizing some support for the activists out there. I just wanted to post this. Hold on, because I wanted to talk about this real quick. Nakima Levy or Armstrong. I never knew if it was Levi or Levy or what have you, but I do know this sister, so I'm just not going to be an asshole. I want to show y'all something. Hold on. All right. So on the right is the real picture of Armstrong being detained, arrested, and walked. On the left is the image that the Washington Post shared. It is a doctored photo, apparently making her look like she's crying. It also makes her skin darker. This is kind of what they do. And they... This is so pathetic. Like, Kristi Noem, they say she had actually posted the real photo and then the White House posted this altered one. So they're not even collaborating behind the scenes on this stuff. They're not even working together. And she led the demonstration, the one that Don Lemon was recording. We talked about that on Tuesday. She led the demonstration. Now, I will say this. I used to be on the board of the Wayfounder Foundation. And Nakima was brought on as the director of the foundation. And this foundation, its goal was to give money to Black women and girls that were working in their communities. And so places like Los Angeles, New York, major cities, minor cities, as long as they were doing some kind of organization work, some community work, we were providing funding for them. So that's how I met her. This was many years ago. This is how I met her. And so I knew back then that she was a very strong advocate. She really cared about stuff. She's not fluff and just talking. She's about that life. So when I saw this, I said, no, wait a minute. No, not Nakima. Like, what are we talking about here? But showing that she is still about that life. So she was arrested. I haven't heard anything of her being released. Somebody fact checked me. I know some people were reporting that she had been. But then they kind of recanted and they showed that they were not, that she was not. So this is what's happening in Minneapolis. Also they kidnapped a 5-year-old boy. I'm gonna show his little picture. That's precious little baby right here. His name is Liam Conejo. What his name is? Liam Conejo Ramos. Okay, this little baby right here. Okay, and I feel like you need to see this because this reminds me of when Obama and Biden had little babies in the courtrooms sitting there, 4 years old, sitting at these desks with these interpretation headphones on their ears, but no lawyers because they had no representation. And they were expected to account for their parents' whereabouts, and they were expected to know whether or not they were citizens and things like that. You guys all know I'm always going to critique everybody who has led this empire because I have no loyalty to any of them. We want the destruction of this empire completely. I don't care who is at the helm. They all do the same shit. The only thing different is that Obama did not send out a whole social media team like it's the Hunger Games, right? And just want to remind everybody, Suzanne Collins wrote the Hunger Games as an indictment on our obsession with reality TV and predicted that our fascination with consuming this kind of media was going to be our societal downfall. She was correct. All right. So he was, I'm going to say he was kidnapped. They keep saying that, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. He was returning from preschool and was being held with his father in an immigration and customs facility in Texas. Okay. So what they're doing is they're taking people from Minnesota and they are shipping them down to Texas. Again, as I said on Tuesday, this is reminiscent of when bounty hunters would trap free Africans or runaway people, Africans that ran away from, escape from slavery. And I should say escape, not runaway, because runaway suggests that they're doing something nefarious. They escaped and they would trap them and sell them further south, right? Because the South was known for being more harsh in their punishments and things like that. There were places that they would break enslaved people. Severely abuse them for days and days and days to try to break their spirit and most of their bodies. This is exactly what is happening right now, right? They are taking immigrants, they are taking citizens, they are taking people who are allowed to be here, and they are transporting them to Texas and other states that are willing to take them, and Louisiana being one of them, and willing to house them. Because why? Because they get money per head. And this is the thing that I want all you so-called leftists and liberals and all this bullshit to understand. This ain't about no cultural shit. They don't actually give a good goddamn. They are making money per head, okay? They are building these facilities. We talked about on Tuesday how they're building one an hour north of New York City. DC just found out they're building a 1,500 person ICE site. They've got them in Texas. They've got them in Louisiana. They're sending these people down there because, one, the creation of these facilities creates jobs, local jobs, right? I hope you understand that in the United States, there are several towns that are jailhouse towns where pretty much everybody works for the jail or is somehow connected to the jail, and it provides the local economy, right? So that's what they're doing. It's going to provide jobs, and they get money per head, okay? That's why they're doing this. Please understand this. And so when you're going and you're protesting and you're standing in front of these ICE facilities or you're trying to block them from doing their job, you getting in the way of their money. And that's why they respond in the way that they are. They don't care about these people. They don't even see them as human beings. They're training them to not be seen as human beings. You fucking with their money. And they're not playing. And Greg Abbott being the, oh man, he's still with us. I don't understand how he's still with us. But anyway, the Ramos family is from Ecuador. They came to border officers in Texas in December 2024 to file asylum and all this kind of stuff. They're not illegal aliens. They came the right way. And I want y'all to hear what my mama sold me for crack Vance has to say about this. Well, no, great.
As we continue this mission here in Minneapolis, we will continue to take these bad people, bad things off the streets, despite the DSP, the double standard phenomena, despite the false narrative reporting by many news media outlets. We will continue unabated in our mission to ensure there are no more Rachel Morens separated from her 5 children. And I'll close by saying organizations, victims rights organizations. What about the angel moms? That one's one that's never reported on. How many victims do you need before an organization like that pops up? It's not.
Okay. So then he gets into this whole thing about how it's about all these parents that have lost their kids to violent, illegal aliens. We have not heard them utter a single freaking word about all the citizens that are robbing people of their children and their loved ones, okay? Like, what the hell are y'all talking about? So anyway, let's see. All right. And then I have the one with JD Vance, who is a bitch ass, and we just gonna watch. Here we go. JD Vance, his bitch ass. God, he's such a bitch ass.
Officers with local law enforcement to try to understand a little bit better what's going on so that we can tone down the temperature a little bit, reduce the chaos, but still allow us as a federal government to enforce the American people's immigration laws. The guys behind me are doing an incredible job. And frankly, a lot of the media is lying about the job that they do every single day. You understand that these people are under an incredible amount of duress, an incredible amount of chaos, and because of a few
that's real.
very far left
They
agitators,
just talking shit.
a lot of these guys are unable to do their jobs. The best way to facilitate reasonable enforcement of the law, but also to lower the chaos in Minneapolis, would be for state and local officials to cooperate. Now, I will say, on one final positive note, I actually think that there's some hope, some reason to think that there's going to be better cooperation in the weeks and months to come. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not?
Yeah, that's what they've been doing, though. I want people to also understand that they have been taking parents who are out with their children and leaving the children there alone. I think just last week, I think it was like a 4-year-old, and it was like, you just gonna leave the kid here? Like, that is actually what they're doing. And based on what we know, they came to the border seeking asylum and they were allowed in. So therefore they are here legally. So this idea of, this constant referring to him as an illegal alien is propaganda, and it is bullshit. Okay. That man had a right to be here with his son, and they were not hurting anybody, but that's how they have to paint this. Okay.
Not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America if the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. The directive that I got from the President of the United States is meet these guys halfway, work with them so that we can make these immigration enforcement operations successful without endangering our eyes.
Which is bullshit. We know that it's bullshit. We know that they actually enjoy the way that they are treating people. We know that they go after women more because they get off on it. We know that that's what's happening, right? Does everybody understand this? Am I alone? I feel like sometimes I'm alone. But I also want y'all to know something else that happened. Hold on. Let me check the chat. I haven't checked the chat. What y'all talking about in the chat? Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. Okay. Let's see what y'all talking about. Okay. Y'all ain't really talking about nothing. Y'all keeping the card. Okay, cool. So there was an internal memo that was sent to ICE agents saying that they can enter without a warrant. Now, off the rip, everybody should understand, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You cannot do that. Police can't do it. Okay? There are police officers sitting in jail right now because they have done that to people. Okay? You cannot do that. Illegal search and seizure, due process. Like, what does the Constitution and the amendments even matter anymore in this country, right? I happen to read the Constitution. I don't think a lot of these new ICE agents that were picked up from playing Call of Duty in their parents' basements have read the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. Rights. The rights that all U.S. citizens have, and not just U.S. citizens. If you are in the United States, citizen or not, you have rights and protected by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I need to remind people. But they said that they assert sweeping power to enter the homes without a judge's warrant. They're telling them they don't need that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So this was this was dropped by Associated Press was talking about it. And it said it was a sharp reversal of longstanding guidance meant to respect constitutional limits on government searches. The memo authorizes ICE officers to use force to enter a residence based solely on a more narrow administrative warrant to arrest someone with a final order of removal, a move that advocates say collide with the Fourth Amendment protections, right? We were just talking about the Fourth Amendment. However, shout out to the Minnesota judges. One thing, let me tell you something. One thing about Minnesota and some of the places in that Midwest, we're not going to talk about Indiana. That's Pennsylvania. But they're about that life too. And so what we're seeing happening, and this is really interesting for like all the political folks, is like we're seeing a president who was just bragging about how he's signed over 200 executive orders his first year, as if that's a good thing. It's not. That many executive orders is indicative of presidential executive overreach, right? We have checks and balances for a reason. We have a president, we have Congress, we have the House and the Senate, and then we have the judicial bench, right? It's all for checks and balances. It's to make sure that nobody gets out of place too much, but everything is completely out of whack because Donald Trump don't give a fuck. This is a reality show star who believes that he can have and do whatever he wants to do, right? So he's going and making all these things, and the judges are just smacking them in the face left and right. The judges are like, we actually know the law, my nigga. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, we actually know the law. And we are seeing this among even conservative judges, right? People that, now judges are supposed to be apolitical, but we know some lean left, some lean right. Even the judges that he's appointed, federal judges that he's appointed, are like, no, that's not going to work. So here we have the Eighth Circuit. This is from MS Now. The Eighth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals was persuaded to freeze a judge's ruling that bars officers from using tear gas and other steps against peaceful protesters while the administration pursues an appeal. So that's one thing that was happening, right? So the ICE is coming and they're using tear gas on protesters. They're like, no, you can't do that. Then they're like, no, you can't stop them from doing it. So this is all kind of in limbo. But then the magistrate judges in federal court in Minnesota have been deluged with requests from federal prosecutors to arrest and criminally charge prosecutors. The rise in requests comes amid increasing clashes between the protesters and immigration officers, right? But some of the prosecutors have fared poorly in establishing evidence of a crime, okay? And so it's exceedingly rare for judges to turn down investigative requests for search and arrest warrants or criminal complaints. But, since the standard of evidence is so low, I'm reading this, they said a federal agent or officer providing an account of events needs to only show fair probability. But what's happening, folks, is that they can't even show that. They're coming to these judges and saying, we need warrants to arrest these protesters. And the judges are like, why? What have they done? They've done nothing wrong. And so what we're going to see is an increase in them planting things on people, right? So you got to watch these videos real close. You got to watch all the little sneaky hand movements. Now, Black people know this, right? They know the police been planting crack and guns on us for decades now, right? That's how they are able to try to win their cases and all those kinds of things. But now they're doing it to white protesters in Minnesota. So we're going to see an increase in that. We're definitely going to see an increase in them planting things and them fabricating reports, all these kinds of things to try to criminalize protesters and justify getting warrants to arrest them. You have the right, according to the First Amendment of the United States, you have a right to protest, which is included in the language of you have the right to redress and petition the government for redress. And that's basically saying you have the right to protest the government, right? Yeah. But guess what? Maine enters the chat. Maine is now being targeted. He finally got back around to Janet Mills. If you all will remember, when she told me I got the wait, do I have the video? Hold on. Did I put the video? Yeah, so here's where she became a target in March. I'm gonna show you this video. You gotta watch this real quick. Just to refresh them.
Order banning men from playing in women's sports. Many Democrats are fighting me on that. I hope you continue because you'll never win another race. NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it? I'm complying with state and federal laws. We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one.
Okay. So if you guys remember that, if you guys remember that, they actually won in court. It's like, I see you in court, and they won. The federal government can't tell them what to do in terms of, how they deal with trans athletes, right? So again, Trump does not like losing. So Trump is targeting Maine because he finally got down to on his list of people to come back. But also, I got another theory, y'all. I got another theory. I was thinking about this earlier. Y'all know there's a city in Maine called Portland? You should. You should. What if this fool is confusing that with Portland, Oregon? I'm just saying. Rock with me. It's Friday night. What if Donald Trump, in his derangement and senility, is going after Maine because he thinks Portland, Maine is Portland, Oregon? Oh my gosh. Well, wait, she just had a press conference. Let's check that out real quick. I think that's what's happening, y'all. I do. Hold on. I got an ad. I don't want to hear this ad. What's going on? Why we got ads? Okay, I can skip the ad here. All right.
We all come in now. This was an interaction between ICE agents and someone inside a home on Hubert Street in Biddeford yesterday. Also yesterday,
this was in Maine, y'all.
Confirming it had made about 50 arrests in Maine on Tuesday alone. Their plans are to target about 1,400 people around the state in what the federal agency is now calling Operation Catch of the Day. In response to the increased
First of all, can we talk about these bullshit operation names? Y'all know Maine got the lobster. I remember my mom and we once took a road trip up to Maine because my mom wanted to get lobster. And we couldn't afford a plane ticket, so we actually got in the car and drove up to Maine because my mom wanted to get lobster from Maine. That's when I knew something was wrong with her. I knew she was dying. But I'm like, what the hell are we going to Maine for? Anyway. But Operation Catch of the Day, my nigga. What are we doing here?
Presence of ICE here in Maine and their arrest. Governor Janet Mills held a news conference at Portland City Hall just within the last hour. She voiced her concerns about the children of people being arrested and her doubts on the training of ICE agents. She took questions from reporters. Our Phil Hirschkorn was there when the governor spoke today. He joins us live with the latest. Hi, Phil.
Good afternoon, Brian. Governor Janet Mills came here to Portland City Hall to be briefed by the mayor and get a better picture about what's going on with the ICE activity in southern Maine. I asked her right at the start, what does she know? And it turns out not very much. It turns out still that her phone calls, her administration's phone calls to the Trump administration are still not being returned. We heard the same thing from her a week ago before all this activity started. The governor said she certainly would like to know in real time what's going on with the targeted 1,400 individuals, if that number is changing, and certainly how many people are being arrested. She also said she's skeptical that there might actually be 1,400 illegal immigrants living in Maine with criminal records. And even if there were, what if they've served their time? Why are they being pursued? Are they fugitive? The bottom line, Mills' message for ICE, show me the warrants. Here's a little bit of what she had to tell us.
If somebody has evidence of criminal activity, we want to hear about it. But that's not what we're hearing about. For the most part, we're hearing about people who have not been engaged in criminal activity, who are being torn from their families, from their schools, from their businesses, and who are in fear, and their families and their communities are in fear. And that's just not wrong. That's not right.
So she is, I think she's playing it low because she's been winning in court, right? And so here's the thing. A lot of the folks have to make these decisions. Now, we look at Chicago's mayor or whatever. He's very vocal about things and people love it. And I love to see that because he's basically, as a Black man, like, you ain't finna tell me what to do. And I appreciate that for him because, unfortunately, there are so many Black men that are weak-willed and weak-spined and will acquiesce to that nonsense. Byron, but anyway, Timmy, but to see him kind of assert that in his full, like, Black masculinity is really awesome because it really is going to take the people who have suffered the most in this country to be the ones to course correct this, right? And I know that, you hear a lot of this, Black people arresting. First of all, I just want to remind you all, a lot of that Black people arresting rhetoric comes from people who haven't done anything at all in their lives. They never organized a protest. They've never done anything to fight for Black liberation. It's also coming from ops, okay? So there's CIA is infiltrating social media, and so they have, they have these fake accounts that they've been plotting on since his first term to build up followings and all those kinds of things. You all have to be very careful about that. Now, you all know in my book, one of the first things I write about is how people have tried to say that I'm a CIA agent. I tell you, I put a bullet in my head first before I ever worked for the CIA, and that's on my mama. May she rest in peace. But we have to be very careful about a lot of this language that is coming out, especially you white people, because you don't necessarily know who to believe and who to trust and all those kinds of things. So you may see Black women talking about, oh, well, I'm resting. I'm part of the 92%. I'm not doing anything. You can't tell them bitches to shut the fuck up, but I can. Okay? So you just be quiet. Think to yourself, Dr. T told them bitches to shut the fuck up, and then just go from there. Now he's like, oh, why is she calling other Black women bitches? Because to me, you are no longer a Black woman when you start talking that rhetoric, right? Blackness is not how you look. It's not about melanin. It's about how you show up in your community and in the world. Word to Muffy Asante. Blackness is about your contributions to your community. So if you sitting here and talking about in this moment when we are under attack, in this moment when we are being targeted, when our brothers and sisters are being targeted, the temporary protective status on our Haitian brothers and sisters and family is expiring at midnight on February 3rd, I believe. If you're going to sit here as an African American and say, well, that's not my business, I'm resting, you deserve every negative thing that is going to happen to you. Like, I absolutely hope a big meteor lands on your house and that you suffer for even thinking that you can utter something like that. We are all brothers and sisters. We are all dislocated Africans. We are all people who were taken from our homeland and spread throughout this world to build it up for everyone. And it is not just a European thing. Okay, Asians did it, indigenous natives did it, like everybody did it. The Arabs were the first to kick it off. So all these, and the Arabs are still doing it, right? In the UAE and other places. We are all dislocated Africans who have been trafficked by nearly every population in this world. We have to stick together. So all of this stuff that y'all seeing, especially with the popularity of this whole Black American thing, I want y'all to understand that's as new as BIPOC is, whatever. But when you start seeing people talking like that and espousing xenophobia, one, these are nearly functionally illiterate people, but these are also people who have done no readings whatsoever. They don't understand what Black liberation is about. They don't understand the Black Power movement. They don't understand much of anything. So don't listen to them. And a lot of them are ops. I'm telling you, the CIA is working overtime because niggas are so susceptible to it. Only 1% of African Americans can read at the level of their age. Only 15% of African Americans can read beyond an 8th grade level. The CIA knows that we are vulnerable to this shit. They know that we are susceptible to this. And the study just came out that African Americans and Black people from across the diaspora are dominating on Threads, right? We moved from Twitter, we found Threads. As usual, we are dominating on social media. We are dominating the discourse. They know where to find us. Okay? Now, if you're white people, no, I don't think you need to say much of anything. But, oh, no, you're right. Yes, there are definitely Czechs, Russians, Ukraine, all of them. Vladimir Zelensky hates Black people too. So, you know, when they was all, oh, Ukraine, fuck you. You hate Black people too. You as racist as Putin is. You as racist as Trump is. Kiss my ass. But also a lot of the accounts and stuff are coming from Russia and Nigeria and all those kinds of places. So before you respond to someone, let's be smart here. It's my little lesson. You can click where it says about this profile. You can say when it was, you can see when it was created and where it was created. Now, I don't respond. I'm trying not to respond to accounts that were created in 2025. Kiss my ass. Accounts that have like 10 followers. Nope. If it's outside of the United States, nope. We have got to be more discerning. Katie, you are absolutely correct. COINTELPRO never ended. It never ended. And I don't, did I talk about this Panther shit? Oh, God, I know. Y'all want me to talk about this Panther shit? I have it on my docket, but let's get into it. It's Friday night. I done finished most of the drink. Let's get into this Black Panther shit, y'all. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
911 notable Black Panther Party elders, original Black Panthers from the 60s that will be there to sit down with us, talk with us, and learn with us, and grow with us, and also to authenticate us and to see who we are, getting tutelage, lessons, guidance, understanding, and truth from, so that you guys know what elders we are actually dealing with, and you guys know what we are actually doing and why we are doing it. I invite everyone who has any questions pertaining to our authenticity or our validity to come on January 31st at 12 p.m. to 2123 Gretz. There will be plenty of food, plenty of refreshments. It will be a peaceful time. There will be actual, notable, reputable Black Panther Party elders there. Original Black Panther Party elders there for you to talk to and ask questions and get to know. And you'll be able to see them with us and see that there really is something going on there that you should be a part of. Also, I want to thank everybody who has been diligent and vigilant to protect the Black Panther Party legacy.
Yes! We're in the goddamn grocery store!
I commend you guys standing up for the legacy, and I'm actually grateful that you are. And I think the best way to protect the legacy going forward, pertaining to us, is to come to the event, bring whoever else you want to the event. Huey Newton's niece, I'm cordially inviting you to the event. Fred Hampton Jr., I'm cordially inviting you to the event. General Mike Payne, I'm cordially inviting you to the event, where you will be met with peace.
Look at the nigga in the skinny jeans.
You will see original elder Black Panther Party members, and you will be able to ask them anything you want to ask them. Right then, right there. So I'm inviting you again, January 31st. 2123 North Gratz, Philadelphia, PA, 19121 at 12 noon. All power to the people. All.
Guys, this is 2123 North Gratz. This is where he invited people to come and meet with him. He invited all these people to come and meet with him. Never get monetized. I'm never getting monetized because all I can do is test right now. Friends. Let me bring it back. My nigga. First of all, okay. You call yourself the chairman of the Black Panthers. Yet there was just another man calling himself the chairman and saying that they don't fight for illegals and they got nothing to do with ICE. But you mobilized your people to go out to Minneapolis because a white woman got shot. Remember on Tuesday, I said, well, that might be the validating thing to let us know that maybe they are Black Panthers because they're going up for the white woman, right? Shout out to Eldridge Cleaver. But anyway, the city of Philadelphia is about to close 20 schools. I don't know if y'all heard that. The city of Philadelphia is about to close 20 schools. If you learned anything from Chairman Fred Hampton, education is super important. He was very focused on education. He was focused on making sure that the people were educated. This was a priority of the Black Panther Party in all their chapters, was to set up educational programs for the young people, okay? So you missed a Black Panther. You missed a Black Panther. I haven't seen you say a damn thing about how you're going to respond to the fact that Philadelphia is closing 20 schools and thousands of kids are going to be kind of lost in the system and shuffled around. Where's your stance on that, my nigga? Right? Also, functionally illiterate ass, the Black Panther Party had requirements for joining the Panthers. You're sitting here inviting people to come and have a conversation with you about peace or whatever the situation is to clear things up. You sitting here inviting your elders to this dump. You couldn't even go to peerspace.com and rent out a nice place for $50 an hour, $75 an hour to create a comfortable environment. Why you ain't reach out to Dr. Asante and use the Asante Institute? It's a whole building that they have there. Why did you reach out to any of the professors at Temple to see if you could use one of the spaces there? Why didn't you reach out to like the Linfest Center where they do programming and all? There's so many places that you could have gone to set this up so that you're talking about bringing your elders, these OGs. You are trying to facilitate a meeting between so-called OGs and the general public. You made a video in a goddamn grocery store where you give out this address of where you are meeting. Shout out to the feds. Come on, feds. Come on, FBI. Come on, CIA. Come on, Interpol. Come on, Mossad. Everybody, come on over and come and be in the space with our OGs, the people that you didn't pick up, the people that you didn't incarcerate, the people that you didn't wipe out, the people that you didn't get hooked on drugs, the people that you didn't have on trumped up charges. Come on and get the rest of them. I'm inviting all the community to come. All you MAGA, that everybody. All you white folks that want to get rid of us. All of these people, come on in and meet us at the Joe's Rib Shack. And there's going to be facial recognition technology there. We just didn't tell you that. You understand what I'm saying here? Now, my mama was a Panther. She was a rank and file member of the Black Panthers. You all, I've shown a picture of her with an afro and a little black outfit and stuff like that. My mama was about that life. She was young. She was, part of the teen youth movement, but she was about that life. That's what raised me. Can you imagine me being like, I'm chairwoman of the Black Panther Party because my mama told me it was okay? That's not how this works. Okay? Let me see if I can find that other video where they staged this whole interaction with the police, because that was some bullshit too. I was very upset about that. I was like, oh, y'all dumb. Did I play that last Tuesday, y'all? Somebody in the chat remind me. Did I already show that? Because I don't want to duplicate. Y'all know I don't like repeating myself. Hold on, I can't find it. All right. Well, anyway, they had this whole thing where they were confronting police like on the corner in Philadelphia, and it was all black police, and those black police kind of fell off like, oh, you got it, ain't no way in hell. Them some niggas they know and gave them some money to come and cosplay this bullshit so they could act like this. I hated everything. I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. Thank you. I already played it. I'm good. You guys remember the ridiculousness of that, right? So now I have half a mind to go there on January 31st. Make sure y'all hit the like button. If you came in, you forgot to do so, make sure you hit the like button. Please, please, please hit the like button. And subscribe if you're new here and you've never been to my channel. Please subscribe, because we do this every Tuesday and Friday. Friends, there are people that are defending them. And that's okay. People have, they're going to fall on different sides. And this is something that I think people need to really understand. Actually, I'm doing a class. I'm doing a whole series of classes this Black History Month, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. You can register on my website, FemJones.com. I think it's like BHM26 or something like that. You can order, you can register for classes and stuff like that. And one of them is on African-American social philosophers. And one of the things that I'm going to explore are how people were in opposition with each other at many times throughout history. But that didn't mean that they hated each other. That didn't mean that they didn't have the same goals. They just had different approaches. And this happens a lot, even within organizations. That's why people splinter off. That's why, Kwame Ture leaves, SNCC, and he's just like, it's not really working out, whatever situation. Or, well, SNCC kind of falls apart when he takes the leadership. But he's like, we're not doing that nonviolent stuff no more. There will be fracturing, there will be splintering, right? But it's important to understand that, like, we don't all have to be the same. We don't all have to be in agreement with each other. And so we talk about political theater. We're talking about these younger people now coming out and claiming that they are Black Panthers, claiming to be chairman of the Black Panthers, claiming that, oh, I had this OG anoint me, and therefore they said I can go forth and do this. No, as I said before, I talked to Bobby Seale 20 years ago. He was like, absolutely not. I still believe it. Now, if he comes out and he says that I support Paul Birdsong and these other people as this Black Panther party, right? Because you also know that they have the Black Panther Cubs, right? And these are the children of Black Panther members, but it's not the new Black Panther Party. Now, if he comes out and says, hey, I'm giving this, my seal of approval, then I will respect that. I ain't gonna respect them niggas, but I will respect that he said that. But that has not happened yet. And then there's the video of Huey Newton's niece kind of like calling him out, threatening, all this kind of nonsense. I'm not going to show that because the videos were actually ridiculous. And I don't know what sis is on, but I hope she's okay. But like everybody claiming to be this person's family, this person's friend, this person, whatever, all of this is nonsense. It's all nonsense. And it's all like just so disruptive to what it is that we're trying to do in terms of liberation in these movements. And if you are claiming that you are a Black Panther, you got to show receipts of the work that you have done. There is ICE in Philadelphia. Why are you going to Minneapolis when you are based in Philadelphia? Why are you going to Minneapolis with guns because a white woman got shot in the face, but you didn't show up for Keith Porter, a Black man who was shot 2 weeks prior? Why you ain't do that? Right? Okay. ICE is in Philadelphia, has been in Philadelphia. They have had protests at the ICE detention centers. Have not seen Paul Birdsong and the Black Panthers there, right? So you got to start interrogating these things, folks. You got to start questioning what's going on and what's really popping in this place. Okay. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, I want to take a little international. The Davos conference. Hold on, let me show you. Trump spoke at that. He sounded utterly ridiculous. I was giving you guys updates on when I was on Threads, but I really wanted to look at this whole thing with Jared Kushner. Now we know Jared Kushner is one of the most evil people on the planet. And he's low key with it. Like, he flies under the radar, and I don't know why, because he really is a demon. And he's Trump's son-in-law, and we have not seen Ivanka in months. Has anybody seen a picture of her? Like, what is? I think the last time we saw her, she was with Beyonce or whatever. But anyway, Jared Kushner, they revealed this plan. They want to put 180 skyscrapers in Gaza, and yeah, it's just nonsense. But here, I want to show you what they was talking about. Hold on. All right. So this is the master plan that they have. You see, it says Rafah 1, Khan Yunis, Rafah 2, Khan Yunis 2, center camps, Gaza City. Okay, these names should be familiar to you if you've been watching the stories and the reporting coming out of Gaza. These are some of the places that were hit the worst. They were moving people around, shuffling them to Rafah, shuffling them to Khan Yunis, all these kinds of things. Then they have this whole thing here, and it's talking about coastal tourism is in purple. So all this would be coastal tourism, the industrial complex, data centers, and advanced manufacturing. So look at all this real estate that they want to put towards data centers, okay? So remember, we talk about this AI shit, and that's all linked together as well, okay? Highways and local transportation, parks, agricultural, and sports facilities, okay? Sports facilities, then residential areas, all of that, right? Like, what the hell are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? All right, so this is what they're calling the new Rafah, right? 100,000 plus permanent housing units, 200 plus education centers, 180 plus cultural, religious, and vocational centers. I bet you all know what religion is going to be dominant there. 75 plus medical facilities. And then he popped out this. Now, I want you all to imagine and think about what you have seen from the Gaza Strip, okay? This is what they're imagining turning it into. Now, we know this is AI generated and all that bullshit, but this is what they are imagining for this region once they get rid of all of the Palestinian and the people in Gaza, okay? This is important. This is important, y'all. This is like really, it's really devastating because this is all tied in. I think I brought this up before about how Israel is the first country to acknowledge Somaliland, and that's because they want to send the people of Gaza there. They want to send the Palestinians there. They want to complete their ethnic cleansing and completely rid the region of any trace of Palestinian people, culture, history, everything. That's why they destroyed all the historical monuments. They destroyed all of the religious houses of worship. They destroyed all the schools, all the hospitals, all the buildings. They basically razed the entire thing because that is their goal, right? And to make it this like resort area and this business hub for the Israeli people, right? We watched this happen. We watched this happen in real time. And this is not the first time that they have done this, right? And I know that there was a lot of conversation around the last election. And this is just the point that I want to make because I'm going to sign off soon. Because this really upsets me, like, deeply, deeply. I think what's often missing from the conversations about the Biden-Harris, and then Harris Walz campaigns versus Trump is that there's a difference between domestic policy and foreign policy, right? Most US voters are voting for domestic policy. Their priority is the self. How is this going to affect my life, my daily life, right? How am I going to navigate through things, right? Then there are people who actually care about the foreign policy. Now, there are people that prioritize domestic policy and do care about foreign policy, but not more than they care about the domestic policy. And I think that that is completely short-sighted because it denies the impact that the United States has on the world. What you are seeing, if you're actually paying attention to international news and not all of these bullshit news outlets, is that people in various nations are protesting the United States, protesting the occupation of the United States military. They want the United States out of their countries, things like that. This is why, and I remember traveling in 2017, 2018, why there were people who are liberal who supported the Trump administration because he was talking about being America first. And he was talking about no more wars, pulling troops out, focusing on the United States. And these people were like, yes, finally, get the hell out of our country, right? Because Obama damn sure didn't do that. So there were people that were supporting Trump because for them, it meant that the United States would leave their countries and stop being the imperialist force that it is. We know that that's not what happened, right? But that was what people were hoping for. And so now the energy is up. They're seeing now with his new administration, because the first time he didn't have these people in place, but now he's got this new administration and they are moving full steam ahead with basically trying to conquer the entire Western Hemisphere for the resources, for dominance, for all these kinds of things. That's wrong, y'all. These are human lives that people are playing with. This is not okay. So many people, so many of you fall for that propaganda about Venezuela. The United States has been like this with Venezuela for decades. Knock it off. All of this is political theater. All of this is just for show. They just want the oil. And it's not even easy to get the oil. It's like expensive, but they just want to say they have it. They just want to control it. This whole thing with Greenland, right? Where the man can't even figure out, if it's Iceland, if it's Greenland, you don't know what he's talking about. All of this is about military access and world dominance. So when it came to the election, there were people who were just like, okay, I understand the domestic policy, and I'm just going to actually speak for myself. I understand people's fixation on domestic policy, but I also know that it ain't going to be but so different, right? Because the truth is that the reason many of you are becoming hip to how the United States government works is because they're putting it on Instagram, right? Because they're filming it. They're making a spectacle out of it. But if you actually think that the Democrats like immigrants, they don't. And if you think voting for immigrants is somehow voting for the Democrats is somehow protecting the immigrants, I need to remind you that one of Barack Obama's nicknames is Deporter-in-Chief. The Democrats don't want them here either. And you're going to hear liberals say, well, yes, I want us to fix our immigration policy because it's messed up and we need to do something. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. You don't like immigrants either. And we need to be smarter than this. The domestic policy has to be what it is. And this, actually, it's been a while. Because I have to remind you all of what this is. Remember I told y'all that the United States is broke. Remember I told y'all that in order for the United States to survive, it has to take extremely drastic measures. The Democrats are aware of that and have been for a while. Reaganomics did not work out. 9/11 proved that we're so-called vulnerable, even though some of us believe it was an inside job. They all know that in order for the United States to survive, they have to do some really drastic things. That's why Trump is there. I told y'all that in 2016. I told you again 2024. That is why Trump is there. He is an odious, loathsome figure that all of them can plant this on. But in their secret chambers, they're voting in step with each other. They're having lunch together in DC. They're vacationing on yachts with each other. They're all doing this all together. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. Maybe Summer Lee is not, because she is whatever. Oh, and we didn't even talk about the Clinton shit and how members of the squad, voted to hold the Clintons in contempt. That's some bullshit. That's a developing story. We'll follow it. But they're all when I say they're all the same, you all don't want to believe that, because you need something to vote for. You need something to believe in. You don't want to be in that perpetual state of hopelessness, the hopelessness that comes with the reality that, oh my God, they really are all the same. This Obamacare thing, that shit was going to blow up in everybody's face anyway. They absolutely had to do what they had to do. Obamacare was messed up from jump, okay? It really was. That whole, y'all want to be honest, but all the economists were like, what the hell is this? It was a messed up plan from the jump. It was Romney's plan. Everybody hated it when it was Romney's plan, but when it became Obama's plan and everybody loved it, come on, I need y'all to be smarter than this, okay? They're all in lockstep with each other. Obamacare, that's some bullshit. These wars that we've been in, like I said, Obama didn't meet a family in the Middle East and in Africa that he didn't want to bomb. That man I feel like he just sat there on his PlayStation, let's just bomb this funeral. Let's bomb this wedding. Let's just bomb these kids, because he seemed to get off on it, right? A lot of people don't care about the foreign policy. A lot of people can't read well enough to understand the foreign policy. But it's all about me, 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 me. But as we can see, the United States foreign policy does have a direct impact on us. We see it when we go to the grocery stores. Something that was $7 before is $12 now. Something that was $2 before is $5 now. That's because of our foreign policy. Okay? When we say that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz would be doing the same things in terms of foreign policy, no, they probably wouldn't be shitting on NATO and calling them out at the conference and all that stuff like that. But would they be under the table yanking and telling them that they needed to give more money and more stuff? Yes, they would. They wouldn't be broadcasting all about these tariffs and all these kinds of things, but would they be doing these backdoor deals and negotiations with these countries? Absolutely. Would they have gone into Nigeria the way that they did? They wouldn't have claimed it was about protecting Christians, but they damn sure would have, because the United States needs a foothold in the Sahel. Why does the United States need a foothold in the Sahel? Because the alliance of the Sahel countries have come together with military force to push the European colonizers out of their countries. So if they are pushing out France and they're pushing out, these other countries, and they are welcoming in Russia, the United States needs to have a foothold in West Africa. They're going to go for Nigeria, because Nigeria is the new model minority in the United States, right? For the last 10, 15, 20 years, the United States has been welcoming in Nigerians who are the best of the best, the doctors, the engineers, all this stuff, just the same way they did with Asians, right? Because they want the land. And I love my Nigerian family. I do. But you all know that I'm right. You all know that the United States, for now going on 2 generations, has been welcoming in the best of your best and giving you the opportunities to do XYZ, right? Go to the best colleges and all those kinds of things so that it can have access to your land, to have a military outpost, to get the minerals, right? To get the oil, all of that stuff. They don't give a fuck about you as human beings. Again, everybody hates Africans. So here we are now with the United States and they're using a Black woman to do it, right? Under the guise of protecting Christians and having Nicki Minaj be the mouthpiece of this. Okay, again, the gaslighting, the fucking emotional abuse of that, right? To go in to Nigeria because they know Nigeria is going to acquiesce to colonizer power, because that's all Nigeria does is acquiesce to colonizer power. You see those wigs that sit up 4 inches off of people's head and that skin that looks like it's been poisoned by skin cream and lightning. The corrupt ass government, the superinflation, all the people that want to leave, right? It has been destroyed by colonialism. Not destroyed, I mean, it's been hurt by colonialism, because I don't want my Niger folk coming after me. But you know it's the truth. I'm not lying. The United States needs to be in Nigeria because they're the most open. Them in Senegal, they're the most open to having the United States come in and establish a foothold. So that's where we are. I care about that foreign policy. As a woman of the African diaspora, I care about that. I care about the fact that USAID funds in Nigeria were being used to fund Boko Haram. I care about this stuff. Kamala Harris would have done the same thing. And that's what you all struggle with accepting. No, they would not have ICE in the street with flashbangs and hiring people who barely graduated high school and who can't read their training manual. No, they wouldn't be doing that. But they would continue to build Trump's wall like they were doing, and they would continue to take money from the climate agencies and other nonprofits or nonprofit kind of service community programs that they were taking money from to continue building Trump's wall that he started building in his first term. You all have to know that Biden Harris was putting money and continuing to build that wall. These are things you got to know. They weren't advertising it. They weren't putting it on Instagram, but that is exactly what they were doing when Trump is talking about, oh, we don't have any issues at the borders, because Biden and Harris damn near took care of all of it. And so while they were going on calling her the border czar and saying that she let in 10 million people, they knew damn well they were lying. They knew that it wasn't the issue that they led the people to believe with, because Biden and Harris took care of that. That's why they have nobody to go after. That's why they have to go after the people in these cities. Because the quota, they can't meet the quota if they just rely on the borders. You learn these things when you listen to other news sources, when you read and watch news from other countries as they report ethically on the United States. You learn these things when you read the government websites, well, before they were hijacked by this current administration, but the archives are still there. You got to know how to look at web archives. It requires a level of literacy, political literacy, that a lot of people don't have. That's why I'm here. That's why you sign on. So I'm done with my little rant. I love y'all. I love y'all. Yes, let's remember, she said, do not come here. Do not come here. Anybody talk about the Dems protecting the immigrants? They don't give a goddamn about these immigrants, the immigrant that she is. Was she not born in Canada? The 2 best of the best immigrants, the best of the best Jamaican, the best of the best Indian. Was she not born to model minorities? To a daddy that won't talk to her because he's a Marxist and he knows that she is a coon. But anyway, I love y'all. I love y'all. I do. I love you with the love of my ancestors. I love you with the love of liberation. Sign up for my Black History Month classes. Go to FemJones.com. You'll see it says BHM 26. I got 4 classes coming out every Wednesday during the month of February. We're talking about African American queer history. We're talking about unsung African American women. We're talking about African American cinema. Excuse me. And we're talking about African American social philosophers. These are courses that I'm offering, workshops that I'm offering. Because I'm an educator, it is always pay what you can. Suggested donation price is $25, but if you can only afford $0, then that's all you pay. Still sign up, come get this knowledge. Maybe one day you'll have a little extra and you'll throw $5 my way. That's fine, but it doesn't really matter. I don't want you to feel bad. We are talking about education for liberation, and we're doing that. As you can see in the corner, you can scan that. You can check out the merch. Got some new merch coming this weekend because I'm going to be snowed in, and I'm going to be doing some designing. So we're going to have some new merch coming in, Black History Month related stuff, some fun stuff. So I've been having some ideas about, slogans and things to put on the merch. So check that out. As always, I appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this evening and you want to send a donation to me, you can always send it through CashApp, FemJones, Venmo, FemJones. PayPal is contact@femjones.com. I appreciate it. I just sent my son some money up in college because, he's up in upstate New York, and I'm worried about this storm coming because if it gets really bad, they won't be able to leave their dorms to go get food. So I told him and his roommate, I'm going to send y'all some money so you can run over to Walmart or something, Wegmans or whatever the situation, go get y'all some food. I had to tell him, I was like, make sure you get some soups, you get some bread, some peanut butter, some deli meat, some cheese, so, get some protein, get some water and things like that. So, when y'all send those donations, it really does help because I don't get that help from the other side. So I do appreciate when y'all do that because I am trying to do this on my own. And I love you all very much. And I appreciate you all showing up every time and us having these conversations. All right. Love yourselves this weekend. Stay warm. Stay safe. I'll talk to y'all on